Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, Amber, StarCharge, and Nokian Tyres. Amber offers a modern extended warranty for your Tesla's battery and more without the burden of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description below to browse their plan options and get started with a free over-the-air diagnostic check. This video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world, and they are also a provider of residential or commercial battery storage and microgrid solutions. This video is also brought to you by Nokian Tyres, a leader in safety and sustainability. Maximize performance and efficiency with their made in USA all-season tires and their dedicated Hakkapeliitta EV winter line from the inventor of the winter tire. Learn more at nokiantyres.com/EV. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to the Wellington charging station, the Maverick charging station. It's been renamed, and I have the long boy, tall roof, big ass electric Sprinter. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm pretty sure this is the longest range electric van, certainly that we've tested, and I think I've tested them all in our market. So I'm really excited to see the range test on this Sprinter. So many people want to do van life and camping, and even just for businesses that have to travel long distance and want to do it electrically in a van. Well, this is kind of worst case scenario. It's the 170-inch version of the Sprinter. For those of you who don't know, I actually own a Sprinter. I own the 144 with the lift kit and all the four-wheel drive stuff for adventuring. But how cool would it be to do those adventures electric? Well, right now, this is the spec of Sprinter that's being sold, eSprinter, in the US. I believe only in the high roof, long wheelbase, which is interesting. And I'm going to tell you all about the Sprinter. We're going to go for a range test. And yeah, this is going to be freaking epic. Really hoping for a big number here. I've been so surprised with the range and efficiency on this one so far. Vans are one of those things that is just hard to make electric. You just have to push so much air out of the way, and they're typically so inefficient. And because vans are a very price point conscious, I guess, point in the marketplace, you typically get small batteries, poor charging performance. So on this channel, we've already made videos with the Bright Drop, which is the GM sort of delivery van. We've made videos with the Rivian van, the EDV, or electric delivery van, or RCV, Rivian commercial van, I guess. That I have a full hour-long video on that one. We've also tested the Ford E-Transit, and then here we have finally the eSprinter. And this is the one that's caught my eye. First of all, I love Sprinters. You see them everywhere. I mean, there's literally one right there. Sprinters are everywhere in our market. If you know, they kind of blend in, but if you look around, you'll see them literally on every corner. And for good reason. They're high quality. They're built pretty well. I love mine. I think it's great. I don't really like all the Winnebago stuff on mine, but I really love all the Sprinter stuff on my vehicle. So I've just been so impressed with, I don't know, just how popular these things are. And now that it's finally electric, well, it's just freaking awesome. So the thing is, this is not cheap. This is like an $80,000 van. So, but the combustion Sprinters aren't cheap either. Those are getting up into $60, $70, $80, $90,000 range before upfitting. So I don't think this is too much more expensive for an electric one. It certainly is a premium, but there's so many incentives to drive electric for a fleet vehicle or even for a personally used vehicle. I would love to convert one to camping, and if you want to do electric camping, this is the best option. The reason is it has a pretty big battery pack-ish, 113 kilowatt hour, but it's LFP, so you can full charge it, full drain it, beat the crap out of it, and it'll just have some really good long cycle life. And it has pretty okay-ish charging, not really, I guess, 115 kilowatts. It was doing 100 kilowatts at 80, still 92 kilowatts there at 86%. So it's got a pretty fat charging curve. I like to see that. And again, the space is so much more than like the Rivian van, or maybe comparable to the Rivian van. But look at all this room in the high roof, long wheelbase one. Now, I had to do a couple things to prepare the van ahead of this test, and I'll walk you through those in a little bit. This one, I don't know what happened to it before I got to it, but we have got it all sorted and ready to go for the range test. Let me show you the cab, I should say. Rear motor, really nice. I prefer that over a front motor in the Rivian adventure van. And you know, the argument to do a front motor packaging, sure, but also is to get a lot of regen on the front axle. This does a ton of regen, even on the rear axle, like a huge amount. So I'm not sure I buy that argument anymore. I have the climate on right now. There's a keep climate button, which is wonderful. So it's blasting air conditioning as we're charging, just to keep the cabin cool. You can see we've got some stats on the screen, or at least we just did. Hold on, let's see if we can pull those back up. Go here, hit back, home. We're at 87%. Maybe I can just go in here to the charging menu. Don't let it distract you, don't worry. Please switch on the vehicle. Okay, there we go, 89 kilowatts. And yeah, battery pack's at the perfect temperature. I preconditioned it on the way over here. By the way, this van does support plug and charge, ISO 15118. And I just think it's really cool how there's, you know, all the good Mercedes car tech that you get, plug and charge, good route planning, on-route preconditioning, telling you when the charger's limiting your power. All of those things are built in here. So there's a lot to like. Let me walk you through what I had to do to get this thing ready, and then we'll head out on the range test. So again, with sprinters, there's so many different configurations. I just want to remind you, or at least let you know what this configuration is. I'm not sure in what order all of our eSprinter videos will be going up, but this is long wheelbase, 170 inch, high roof, and it's the 150 kilowatt output one, and it also is spec'd with the high speed charging. As standard, they come with a 100 kilowatt motor, which I'm going to tell you right now is not enough. You need the 150 kilowatt motor. It's 200 horsepower. And, you know, that may not sound like much. My V6 turbo diesel Sprinter, the one with the biggest, baddest engine, I think that's only 188 horsepower, but lots of torque. And again, here, lots of torque. So definitely get the high output motor if you can. From a charging perspective, I don't know why they offer a 50 kilowatt version and a 115 kilowatt version for DC charging. I don't think it's a hardware change. Like if you have a lower power charger for fleets, just like, you know, charge it at lower power, or there's also an eco charging mode. So to me, that's a very stupid option. I'm not sure why it's there, but yeah, spec the fast charging, especially if you're going to use it for personal use. And then I have to check to see if it has a 40 or 48 amp onboard charger. The thing that makes me think it might be a 40 amp onboard charger is the EQS only has a 40 amp onboard charger. So I'll have to check this one. So let's talk about what I had to do to set this thing up ahead of the test, because it was kind of interesting. Before I got here to do the range test, it actually took me some time. I had to go out and drain the Sprinter to calibrate the battery pack. Now this uses a lithium iron phosphate based chemistry, which means that the voltage differential across the discharge curve is really minimal. And so you do need to full charge it every once in a while. This is why Teslas recommend on the base LFP battery pack to charge to 100% once per week. What's interesting with the eSprinter though is it popped up a warning. I had the warning when it was dropped off from Mercedes, and it said, hey, the Sprinter requires a calibration. Now I can't blame Mercedes or the press guys, the delivery guys for even knowing what that warning would mean or anything. It's just, you know, it's not a typical situation that people are used to running into. And so I decided before I did any testing, I'm going to run this through the calibration process. So what I want to do now is walk you through how I calibrated the battery. I first drove it down to 15% state of charge because it recommended to be under 16, and I'll pick up with the video there in a moment. Well, before we get to actually testing, I noticed a message popped up on the Sprinter earlier that said it needed a battery calibration. So let me show you how to do that, and we'll learn together by doing this typical ELFP situation. So eSprinter, battery calibration. Okay, so battery calibration required, AC charging to 100%, starting state of charge maximum 16. I've drained it to 15%. Outside temperature minimum 59, well, it's 83 degrees, so we should be okay. So I'm going to hit OK, perform calibration. And is that really all I have to do? And then just plug it in? All right, well, I'm going to charge it to 100, see what happens. So I've got the Sprinter set to go to 100%. It's at 15% state of charge. It said minimum 16%. We probably don't need the DC side. Obviously, we don't need the DC side. I have a 48 amp EVSE. So in we go, and we'll come back to it in the morning and see if it's calibrated. I definitely want this battery in good working order because we're going to beat the crap out of this thing this week, driving it up and down massive grades. Big heavy loads inside. Is it charging? That says it's not charging. This says it's not charging. Why is it not charging? What is going on? Don't forget your key. Okay. No problem. Wait, battery calibration active. Wait, go away. What does it say? Process includes charging brakes. Do not unplug. Do not press start stop button. So this will take an extra 56 minutes. Okay. So I'm just going to let it do its thing. Interesting. So it actually will start and stop the charging session throughout, but it seems healthy. It seems good. So we're going to let it go through its calibration process. Pretty cool. Good morning. It is now the next morning. Let's see what the Sprinter says. If it says calibration complete or if it just leaves us hanging. So it says, don't forget your smart key. Don't worry. We are at 100%, 200 miles. Battery calibration successful. Max battery output and range restored. Hey, good news. So that is exactly what we were looking to see. Okay, well now we're ready for testing on this thing. Hell yeah. Got to go drop that off for service first. So it was just a few hours ago that this completed at 100% after level 2 charging and completing. I've been driving it around all morning since about 9-10 a.m. It's now 2:30 in the afternoon, and I ran it down to, I don't know, mid 70% state of charge range, something like that. It really does have a ton of range around the city. The other thing I had to do was take out all of the crap Mercedes left in here. I think to make it ride better, because this is a review unit, they put some false weight in the van, but I'm like, that's not how we do testing. We do testing empty, and then I'm going to put this thing to the maximum payload possible, and we're going to do an efficiency run. Not only are we going to do an efficiency run, stay tuned, because I'm going to load this thing up to its maximum capacity of weight, and we're going to drive it up Mount Evans, which is the highest drivable road, I think, in the continental US. Either way, it's going to be an extreme stress test for the Sprinter. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this does. Again, I'm coming at this from the consumer side of people want to go camping and adventuring and build these out. And in the review, I will also show you underneath the Sprinter, because a lot of people want to know where can you put tanks and other stuff with the battery pack. So that will come in the final review on this vehicle. However, I also understand this is primely positioned for fleets and businesses and small shops all the way up to large shops like Amazon. And this is a vehicle that truly needs to do it all. So we're going to try and do it all over the next few days with this one. So I removed a pallet full of rocks. I'll show you those clips here. Pulling out the weight ahead of the range test. Thanks to Kirk, master forklift operator as always. And there we go. We have removed it. We're going to leave this pad here though, so we know exactly where to drop it back. Just because I'm sure they did all the load calculations and that's where they want the most center of mass. But hell yeah, there we go. Just a box of rocks, I guess. And there you go. Now we have an empty van, tire pressures are set, and we're finally ready for the range test. Tire pressures are like just over 50 PSI in the front and then 70 in the back. Really high pressures here, but that's what you get when you have a 2500. We're talking about a utility vehicle. What's funny is just in the amount of time it took me to film this intro, we're already at 94%, still doing 65 kilowatts. The benefit of LFP, good charging. So let's run around the back, because I haven't even shown you this yet. It takes a while to get around this thing. It says eSprinter on the back. That's really the only way you would know. There is a little hint of high voltage cabling under there that you might be able to spot, but you really wouldn't see it on the road. So you got to keep an eye out for the eSprinter badge or this electric badge. Of course, the charge port is the Mercedes logo up front. Love that. Think it's so cool. I just love stuff like this. I was curious. This is where I fill my Sprinter up with gas, or diesel, I should say. And it's just a little, you can hide a couple things in there, I guess. So let's come on in here. We have the Sprinter on accessory power. It's at 95%, still doing 60 kilowatts. That's awesome. There's a couple different drive modes and things we need to set up in here. So underneath the start button is the drive mode selection. So when I hit that, you can see we go from comfort to eco to maximum range. Whoops, we don't want eco charging. Sorry. We want full send charging. Okay, hopefully that didn't affect it too much. Time will tell. Okay, either way, 57 kilowatts at 95%, not bad. We're going to try MR, maximum range. That's not Manti Racing. It's not a GT3 MR or GT3 RS MR. It's the eSprinter MR, full racing spec. And the MR will hopefully, I can already tell it turned down our AC a little bit. Who knows what else it'll do, but it keeps the AC running. That's the thing. As per our testing procedures, we always run most efficient setting where we still retain climate control. And here it is still blowing cold air. It just makes the throttle really lazy. And there is a kickdown switch at the end of the accelerator pedal that will unlock full power even in the Manti racing mode, even in the maximum range mode. So absolutely loving it. I'm excited. This thing's massive. It's way bigger than my Sprinter is. I have the sporty shorty Sprinter, and this has just been a dream to drive. Just smooth, magnetic power and force. It's a very high quality experience. Feels better built than my Sprinter, but again, this is the press car. They run through it, I'm sure, to get rid of any squeaks or rattles, and mine has a bunch of conversion crap in the back from the Winnebago Revel situation. But damn, we're gonna go charge this up. As soon as it clicks off at 100%, I'm gonna run and pee really quick. We're gonna hit the road and drive it from 100 to 0 at 70 miles an hour. This is a highway range test. In the city, this van would go maybe twice as far. The bigger the vehicle, the more the speed affects it because of the aerodynamic drag of that big high roof. So you can really expect a huge range number in the city. But for now, let's head out on the highway once it completes to 100%. Well, I have good news, friends. The weather is perfect. I particularly picked this day. You can see the wind is not blowing. And wind, again, with the bigger the vehicle, the more aero profile, the more frontal area you have, the worse wind can affect it. And so I particularly picked this day with no wind. We are so lucky because this is like the windy capital of America going up into Wyoming here. And no keyless entry on this one. Have to use the Sprinter key. Boom. And it's still charging. Great. It's at 199 miles indicated. And I took the highway here. I'm not sure if it uses a rated range calculation or not, but look at that. 36 kilowatts at 99%. Thing is awesome. So, yeah, the weather is perfect. We're going to basically get on I-25, head up 70 miles an hour into Wyoming. Maybe we'll make Nebraska. I don't know. This would probably be a pretty quick range test compared to some of the super long range cars that we do. Then we'll turn around, come back, and end here at 0%. So once it clicks off, let's hit the road. Well, it's just sitting at 25 kilowatts right here, predicting over 200 miles on a full charge. Really loving seeing that. It should be done here any moment because I'm looking at the screen. It says 1 minute remaining. So I'm hoping this will complete. As soon as it completes, I'm going to turn off the climate control while we get everything ready, reset the trip computer, and then we'll be good to go. 90 degrees outside doesn't bother me. The warmer it is, the less air density there is, which means this should actually have a pretty good range result. So yeah, still charging. Oh, just completed. Price breakdown. Okay, so climate off. There we go. So that was pretty good. So let's take a look over here. We've got energy and everything like that. Oh no, it's still charging. 23. I don't know how it got to this menu. Nope, we're still good. Good thing I didn't hit stop or unplug or anything. It's still going. Yeah, I was like, I didn't hear any contactors. Still doing 24 kilowatts. Okay, we'll give it some more time. Well, there we go. Just got the message officially. Charging complete at 100%. Good. Okay, 25-minute charging session. Not amazing. Oh yeah, with Mercedes, I don't understand this. Even with CCS1, you have to hit the release latch. And then I can put that, whoa, back in here. Boom. I like how they do AC and DC ports separately, so I can hit both on this side or I can just do the top. Really nicely designed, actually. And you do want the covers on this one because in the winter, snow and schmutz will get pushed all over the Sprinter up here. Time to head out. Hopefully we'll make good lights and everything. So let's just keep climate off for the second. We're going to run 68 to 72 on auto. I have my profile set up here. Mercedes-Benz remembers all of my settings and transfers it, showing 209 miles of range, 229 maximum. What we're going to do is go over here to the trip calculation. We're going to reset from start, reset yes. We will also reset from reset, just so we have everything totally reset. Actually, let me just see. Wow, almost 2 miles per kilowatt hour, 1.7, and I've been flogging this thing. That is crazy, actually. So from reset, Yes, that's the one that we'll use. Car on. Oh wait, car on. MR, maximum range. Auto 68. Into reverse. We've got a few different angles to play around with here. This thing can tow, by the way. It's not, this one's not optioned with the trailer hitch. Good thing no other car showed up. We gotta maneuver ourselves out of here. This is a long boy. Into drive, and off we go in the Sprinter. All right, let's get on the highway. So as we're heading over to the highway and pulling out, I can go to the kickdown switch in MR mode, and you can see it gives us just over 50% of the power, which is really not much. However, I also have paddle shifters on the wheel where I can increase the off-throttle regen by going to D-, D+, and D++. So it's actually almost identical to like my B-class electric, but mine I don't think is actually optioned with the paddles. I've only driven it once and it's still broken. So yes, let's get on the highway. Hopefully we can make this light. That would have been the cleanest exit from the charging station on a range test so far. Love to see it. We made it. And now we're just going to go gentle accelerations, which means I'm going to go to the kickdown switch, but not beyond. And we're just going to sit at just about this acceleration level. It is dead silent. Absolute silence from the drivetrain. You do hear inverter whine with the windows down at low speed, but here, absolutely nothing. I'm still just sitting to the kickdown switch. We're at 60 miles an hour. We do need to get to 70 by the end of the off-ramp, but if I go past the kickdown switch, we'd get a hit of full power. So we'll just give it a couple mile per hour break there. We're almost to 70. I also like how MR mode does not seem to limit your top speed. The top speed of this van is 74 miles per hour. And 75 miles per hour, but cruise control lets you go to 74. This one is not spec'd with adaptive cruise. I don't know if it's an option or not. Mine has it, but I didn't see it on the configuration page. I am set at 70 miles an hour now. We are cruising, all is good. And I did confirm that that is a GPS speed. It's very little wind out here. You can see the wheel is pretty much dead straight to keep the vehicle straight. Normally with a Sprinter, you got to put in some lock to counteract some wind, but all is good. We've got the digital rear view mirror out the back. Really couldn't ask for anything better than this. Climate control's running nicely, even in MR mode. It's keeping me cool. And we're just cruising. Speaking of Sprinters, there's a broken one. Maybe he can upgrade to an eSprinter. Well, we are cruising in Wyoming. I forgot to do the Wyoming check-in, but I think we were about 86, 87% when we crossed over. We're down to 83% right now. And our efficiency is terrible, 1.3 miles per kilowatt hour, but we gained a lot of elevation coming up here, so it's not unusual. Man, 4th of July traffic is crazy. I am just, I haven't had to come off 70 miles an hour yet, but I'm also not making anyone happy behind me. But it's all for science. So we're still passing people. I'll get in the right lane whenever I can and let people by, but there's a lot more traffic than I'm used to up here in Wyoming. A little bit windier up here as well. Definitely windy up here in comparison to starting. I've never seen such a big disparity. Well, things are good, and we're just on the other side of Cheyenne. Now, we do have a tailwind at the moment. Not huge, maybe 5 to 8 miles an hour. It's a lot more than where we started. It was so still in Wellington when we started. I was like, this is going to be amazing. Turns out, okay, little bit of wind, which means we should definitely turn around maybe 60%, 65%, and then we can run it down on the frontage road. I don't want to run into a situation where we get, this thing is so huge and so affected by wind. The tailwind's going to help a ton, and the headwind is going to really push against us, I think. But yeah, we'll go up another 15, 20 minutes this way, something like that. We're like 33 miles in, and I'm still at 80%. And that's the worst of it. That was uphill the whole way, fighting wind at the end. That seems pretty good to me. I mean, 150 miles on a full charge, that would equate to 160, 170 miles even. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, you have to imagine most of the vans in this category do not have much range at all. So this seems like the longest range option, and it is surprisingly long. We have just ticked from 75 to 74%, and we have traveled 48 miles. We're up to 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour, which seems pretty good. Now, again, we do have a little bit of a tailwind right now, and we're losing elevation, but we'll see how it all averages out. That's why we do a loop style. So yeah, things are cruising nicely. So I just called Jordan to do a little bit of extra research and reminding myself about the other vans in this category. And the Sprinter's long range may not be the king in the class. Certainly, I recently tested the e-Transit. That's been updated for 2024, so we actually need to test the new one. I've not tested the new one yet. I'll ask Ford Pro for one of those here pretty soon. If you guys want me to test an e-Transit, I love them. I'd love to have a go. Would be really fun. And that's also rear drive. The Rivian van that I recently tested in Illinois, that had a 100 kilowatt hour gross pack and like 90 or 96 kilowatt hour usable, somewhere in that range. Couldn't really ever figure it out. And this is 113 kilowatt hour usable. This is also very comparable in price to the Rivian van. I think the Rivian van is cooler. It's got a more friendly approach, but this just having the more usable capacity and certainly the charging performance makes the Rivian van almost unusable. That vehicle just did 50 kilowatts and sat there. This does 115 kilowatts and kind of sits there, to about 80%, it seems like. So this is a much more usable vehicle for those looking to do a conversion. On the other hand, the Bright Drop Zevo, they make the 400 and the 600. You can get up to 175 kilowatt hour battery pack in those things. Leave it to America to just stuff batteries in the vehicle. Love it. And so that seems like it'll work. I've driven the Bright Drop. It's been a couple of years now, maybe a year and a half since I've driven one. And I've never had the chance to test one. Maybe I can ask Bright Drop to send us one too. Maybe we should do a van comparison. A race to Vegas van lifestyle. How fun would that be? Anyway, I think the eSprinter is going to be the one that it might be easiest to buy. You don't really need a fleet account, is my understanding. Anyone can just buy one, and it certainly seems to be the best put together by far out of all of the vans. Nicest seating position, nicest, everything, interior, user experience in terms of software. I like that. And yeah, I'm a Sprinter guy. I love Sprinters. So for me, this one captures the heart, and it seems to be pretty usable. But if that Bright Drop could go 200 plus miles, which it's rated for like 225 on a charge, then that seems pretty usable. But it was really rattly and not built that well, if I remember correctly. Anyway, trade-offs always. We have almost made it to the Nebraskan border, and I'm about to turn around here in Pine Bluffs. Nebraska is just around the next bend, and we are at 65% state of charge, so it leaves us plenty of buffer to fight the headwind on going the way back. Again, we're not talking huge wind numbers here, but enough to pull around a bit early, and then we'll have that big efficiency run down into Wellington. So we're 71 miles into the trip, so this thing's going to go significantly farther than the Rivian van did. The Rivian van in our 70 mile per hour test did like 113 miles, I think. 112 miles, somewhere around there. This is going to go seriously much farther than that van. And again, I feel like this is taller and at a very comparable price point. So, that Rivian van value, I don't know. And then, Mercedes already has like all their fleet stuff in order, all that good stuff. Anyway, we're still in maximum range mode. I'm to the kickdown switch, which, gives us just about half power for merging. I can go past the kickdown switch if a truck is coming up on us, but I hope this should be enough. I mean, it's still not bad performance. We're at 50, 55, 60. It's not terrible. And here we are merging right up to 70. Boom. Resume on cruise. Yeah, I kind of like this max range mode. It's kind of nice. And we're locked in. So let's see our efficiency tank, because we're at 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour at 70 miles an hour, which is crazy efficient. But it's about to all drop as we push and make that final climb back into Cheyenne. And then we'll gain some efficiency back heading back into Colorado. Just as a point of reference, I've put in our destination. It says a 22% arrival. And I do not have it set to the charging station just so the battery doesn't precondition. We do not want any preconditioning here. Now, if the van doesn't think we'll make it, it will automatically add charging stops, and I can either delete those charging stops or just turn off the automatic route planner altogether, because our goal is to get to 0. You join me for the 50% state of charge check-in, and we have gone 92 miles, and we're heading on the climb up to Cheyenne. That means that maybe this is going to do just under 200 miles, maybe around 170, 180, 190. And that's honestly exactly where my head is at. That's what I've been thinking this thing would do, which is honestly not too far off our e-tron on the big wheels. Like, it's not the end of the world here. So, yeah, we're at 49%. Guessometer still saying 101 miles. I think it's more of a rated range calculation. 100 miles there, but all good. Still cruising, full power, no issues. We're rocking. Oh boy, good thing we left a few extra percent in the tank. The entrance to I-25 South, we just hit a little construction zone for a mile. We hit it the other way as well. It's closed, so we have to go up and then turn around and come down. Thankfully, we have plenty of extra, 38%. Oh boy, that could have been interesting. Let's head north, and then we'll loop around and head south. I am doing a really poor job at the state of charge check-ins today. We're at 24%, not 25, but we've traveled 136 miles. We're at 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour for the test. Now, the state of charge on arrival has been pretty good, I have to say. When we first put it in, it said 22% to get there, right? And, well, we had a little bit of wind, and we had to go up the exit and back, right? We had to add a couple extra miles. So I would say that is almost dead on accurate route planning. That is very impressive. Nice work, Mercedes. You guys know what this means. We've officially completed a full loop. We are back at Wellington, and we are at 19% state of charge instead of the 20. But hey, pretty close. Mercedes are always a little bit optimistic. I noticed the same thing on the road trip in the EQS SUV. Whatever the number is, just take an easy 5 off of it. Give yourself your own 5% buffer on the arrival state of charge. Anyway, like I said, we still have 19%, so we're going to continue. No reason to stop now. So we're going to go down an exit, up an exit, drive around a little bit more, you know, do the things, and run this thing down to 0. We have reached 10% state of charge, and we are now heading in the other direction from the charger, heading back towards Cheyenne. One final loop. I guess we'll just have to pick the correct exit, and then we'll run it down on frontage roads right here on the outside of the highway. But things are good. I mean, I think we're going to be right about where I expected. So 10%, we did 161 miles, which would bring us in at, you know, 175-ish miles, plus or minus. That seems what we were thinking, right? Didn't we say about 170, 180, 190 at the beginning? So I still think that's pretty reasonable range for this van. That's, you know, more than 2.5 hours of driving at high speed here. I'm curious what it's going to say on the route planner when we skip getting off this exit, because I'm going to continue past. We still have 9% remaining. So let's see how it recalculates. Okay, there we go. It's calculating 16 miles. Give it a second. Oh, it's adding a charging stop. I don't want to have it do that, but I'm pretty sure it's charging stop. Mercedes has a bug. Is where we are supposed to go. Let me hit it. Yeah, so our charging stop is where we're supposed to go, which is a 1% arrival. I don't know why it does that. I'm going to shut off route planning, and then I think when I do that, we lose our state of charge on arrival, which is annoying. So I shut off the route planner, and we lost our state of charge on arrival. So that's a Mercedes bug that's kind of annoying to me, actually. We have a reserve level high voltage battery charge. It's flashing just because of the camera, not in reality. And it's 14 miles of projected range and 15 miles to get there. I would say that does not add up. We are pulling off to loop for the final time, and to be honest, I don't actually know if we're going to make it back. We may have gone a little, there was a pretty big gap there between the exits. We have 10 miles to go at 5% state of charge, 9%. Now I'm just hoping that the downhill will help us on the way down. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I'm going to go 70 miles an hour. The nice thing with LFP chemistry in this van is we still have 100% of max power available. And you can see there's even a little gauge to say that. So that's pretty cool. Let's, rip back on the highway. We're still in MR, maximum range. Unlike the EQS that I've been driving, or like the regular Mercedes vehicles, there's no like energy saving stuff that's come up. It's not like turn off air conditioning or turn off the screen or do anything to save energy. Those cars have a lot more energy stuff in them. Anyway, let's get up to 70 miles an hour. No degradation in performance yet. We got a truck in our left mirror here, but it's okay. We're getting the speed up. We should be good. Let's go. Mercedes, get out of here. We're driving. And we're cruising at 70 miles an hour. System on. And we are, boom, set, locked and loaded. Now, will we make the 9.3, 9.2 miles back with 7 miles of range estimated? Haha, time will tell. Might see on the shoulder, might see at the charging station. I don't know. Right there at 3% state of charge, we just lost our first full maximum power. This train is doing some weird stuff with the wind where we get like shielded and then boom, it hit. And this Sprinter does have crosswind assist, so if you get hit with a huge crosswind, it like locks on the brakes and shows a message on the screen. Apparently my smart car has it too. I see it pretty often in my Sprinter. This one even more, probably because it's the longer one. But we're still doing 70 miles an hour, 3% state of charge. 5.8, 5.7 miles to go, and we're still cruising, folks. 3%. This is awesome. This is working out. I think we're gonna make it. Things are good. We're coming in. I can see the exit sign up ahead. We're 3 miles away from the charger or so, and we have 3 miles of range here. Still no problem maintaining 70 miles an hour. If only Polestar could learn how to do this, and XC40 and C40. The newer batteries should be better, but still 2% state of charge. We've only lost 2 bars of max performance. It's cruising along just fine. Wow, call me impressed. I love LFP tech for this right reason. We just lost a 3rd bar of performance, but still in very low single digits of percent. That is amazing. So 2.5 miles to go, 2 miles listed on the display. It's going to be close, but I think we'll make it. And again, still doing 70 miles an hour. We are 1 mile from the exit. We've just dipped to 1% state of charge. And now we're down to about half power. As soon as we hit 1%, we lost a few bars, but again, still doing 70. LFP magic right here. It's a 70 mile per hour range test. We go 70 until we can't no more. I'll tell you one thing though, I'm certainly not going to skip this exit. We have to stop here because yeah, I don't think there's probably much buffer below 0. So we're going to kick it off 70 here in a moment. It's not near any major milestone. We've done more than 175 miles so far. Done 177 miles to be exact. And we are making it to the exit, hopefully to the charger. So let's tap the brake, a little bit of regen hit. There we are, 1 mile, 1%, giving it some regen. And now I'll give you the final number, deciding whether or not we should loop on the frontage road. I guess why not? We got to see 0%. This is out of spec, so we'll probably drive up the frontage road just a little bit. But huge regen. Don't ever tell me you need a front motor for big regen. This thing just did all that unloaded on the rear axle. That was awesome. And we have 50% of our power available, and we're still running air conditioning. eSprinter, baby. 1% state of charge. The maximum performance feels to be exactly where the MR mode puts you. So that's MR mode. I can hit the kickdown switch, and nope, we are even less power than maximum range. So we're down to probably 90 kilowatt power output, 80, but we're still going. So can we do 180 miles? We're at 178. I passed the charger. We're going to keep rolling here. Let's see what happens. I really don't know with LFP. They just shut off. There's no power indication to know when they die. So yeah, we just lost another big hit of power. Whoa, down to under 50% now. That's full beans. Yeah, okay. But I don't want to rip on it too much. I don't want to bottom voltage brick this thing. So let's just gently cruise, gently cruise. That's the plan. Turtle mode, and I'm on the way back to the charging station. So reduced drive power, charge high voltage battery. Now, at least in the EQ models with the high nickel content batteries, that means we're right at bottom pack, about to brick. So we're at 0 miles, 0% at the moment. Still giving okay performance, but I'd say we call it there. With LFP, and I don't have any rescue source, no one is around to pick me up, I think we did pretty damn good. We are completely drained and in turtle mode. So let's just try and maintain enough momentum to get to the high power chargers. We don't need an F-150 Lightning situation where I ran out right here. So let's pull in and get this thing charged. To the charging station. Woohoo! Nice. I think we can leave it right there. And I'd say we're pretty dead. Turtle, 0, everything. Yep, so there's the total result. 179 miles, 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour. And we ended in turtle mode. The old eSprinter really used everything that it had. And yes, I'm feeling the wind picking up now towards the end. You just plugged in and you can see on this nice display, it expects about 1 hour, 0 to full. Honestly, that's pretty respectable for a 113 kilowatt hour battery pack with not a high peak to do 1 hour, 0 to full. That's pretty good. So there you have it. At least in terms of range, I would say, you know, this is actually a vehicle you can full charge pretty quickly and drain all the way to 0 easily because of LFP. It retains all that performance down to even 1% was usable. I'd say 2% is where I'd want to try to pull off the highway. So, you know, I think if you're going to use this for long trips for van life and you're a nerd like me, that actually works. And it's kind of fun to maximize the battery. And again, being that 1 hour charge time from 0 to full on such a big battery pack, 113 kilowatt hours, with only a peak of 115 kilowatts is pretty amazing. So my guess is it's going to take slightly longer than 1 hour to charge. I guess we'll find out. But overall, call me impressed with the Sprinter. You know, quiet, comfortable, rides great, especially when you put some weight in the back. Empty, they always ride a little rough. So this was riding nicer with the false weight in there that Mercedes put in. But damn, this is so good. I wish it was all-wheel drive. And I wish I could get it in the shorter wheelbase, but other than that, this is such a huge improvement from the old electric Sprinter, which was front wheel drive, small battery, Euro only. They do have different battery pack sizes in the eSprinter in Europe, but in the US, we only get the big battery. And I think that's a good thing. I think this is, you know, in a mixed drive cycle, you could easily get 200 miles out of this. If you're going to drive a little bit in the city, a little bit on the highway, this is a 230 mile range vehicle. If you're just highway cruising though, which is what this test is, I would expect about 175 to 185 miles, depending on wind and conditions at 70. And that's very close to the top speed of 74 you can run on cruise control. If you put your foot all the way down on the accelerator pedal, you can get 1 mile an hour more and do 75. So that's almost a top speed range test out of this thing, and I have to say, good with me. I'm pretty impressed, especially considering the Rivian costs about the same, maybe even more. We don't know full pricing on that. That's like mid $80,000, I think. This is like mid $80,000, and it's a nice spec one. This goes way farther than the Rivian does. That did 113 miles. This does 180 in our test, 179. And this will charge at more than double the performance. So that seems like a no-brainer. In comparison to the Bright Drop, that seems interesting. In comparison to an e-Transit, this is also a no-brainer. Bigger battery, more faster charging, LFP. I'm into all of it. I can't wait to test the new e-Transit though. So there you go. There's my thoughts. That's the range test. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed the time in the Sprinter, and we'll see you on another one again soon. Bye-bye.